Welcome to Africa, where the stunning scenery, the wildlife and the treacherous roads make up the toughest and most picturesque round of the World Rally Championship, the Safari. Celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, the Safari Rally has made and broken dozens of reputations over the years, and 2002 doesn't look like being any different. Africa's only round of the WRC is based to the north of Kenya's capital Nairobi, with the 12 stages run in the Great Rift Valley and a single service park at Suswa. The first 2 days have seen retirement follow retirement. First to go was the championship leader Marcus Grönholm on the very first stage.
FX, Sportimo. The engine stopped.
Joining Grönholm on the helicopter ride back to Nairobi would be Hyundai's Armin Schwarz with alternator failure, and his teammate Freddie Loix with a broken clutch.
Yes, Phil, I'm now on the straight line, but the car is still not moving anymore.
Francois Delacour's second attempt at the Safari ended with a blown engine in his Mitsubishi, while it was a missing wheel ripped off on day one's last section, which caused Tony Gardemeister's Skoda to retire. The final victim of day one was Subaru's Petter Solberg, a string of problems ending with engine failure, and so he too was out. At the end of the day, Tommy Mäkinen and Colin McRae were just 16 seconds apart, but day two's first stage saw the lead change hands.
Is he over right behind him?
Broken suspension slowed Mäkinen, but he didn't know McRae had caught him.
Tell his pilot to get pull over now. Left over jump, mate. Right, get him to pull over. Steady now. Okay, fast hold.
Yep, it's going to get down.
That was very important of him.
We had no information at all that you are behind. I'm very sorry that.
But Mäkinen's rally would soon be over. More suspension problems, but this time he couldn't drive on.
Does this retirement means the end of your championship for me?
Yeah, it looked very bad. It looked very bad. It was not a good day for us.
There'd be others who also wouldn't reach the end of the day, like Carlos Sainz.
With pressure, Luis.
Recto, izquierda.
Okay.
No problem.
Skoda's Kenneth Eriksson thought he had no problems, but the oil suggested otherwise. Transmission failure within meters of his mechanics meant another Safari victim. Richard Burns, the reigning world champion, would also retire within sight of his team, with perhaps the most bizarre incident of the entire event.
JC, we're stuck at the service.
It's completely on its bottom, and all the wheels are spinning. Okay, we tried to put some advertising banners under the wheels. Francois, it's finished. Please, can somebody come?
Richard, that must be a very, very bitter pill to swallow.
I can't really explain because you saw what's happened, and we drove 50 kilometers on a normal tarmac road, and we come to this service area and we can't even get in through the gates.
100 people fortunate, but Kenya's unique challenges also caused them problems. In Alistair McRae's case, it was the wildlife. Others, like McRae, had never tackled the rally before. Both the Citroens would end day two in the points. Thomas Rodstrom third, and his teammate Sebastian Loeb fourth. Seventh-placed Roman Cresta now held the hopes of the Skoda team in his hands, while Peugeot had also lost two of their cars. Chimpanitsky would start the final day in sixth place, with second-placed Henri Roccampera giving the French team their best hope for some useful points. The unhappiest driver, though, must be Marco Martin, who ended day two in third place, but then dropped to fifth after picking up 11.5 minutes of time penalties. But it's this pair, Colin McRae and co-driver Nicky Grist, who lead the rally into the final day. McRae's lead nearly 2.5 minutes over Rovanperä, with the two Citroens, Marco Martin and Gilles Panizzi rounding off the top 6. Leading the chasing pack is Romain Cresta, looking for his first ever championship point, with nearly 2 hours covering the top 12. Day 3 was the rally's shortest with only 3 stages, but they still covered over 260 kilometres. The day's opening stage was the rally's second run through the 106-kilometre Ntulele test. Colin McRae clearly felt that he had to prove a point to Rovanperä.
6 right minus don't cut, into 6 right 50, 6 left and opens over jump 120, 6 crest, 120 K, crest and fast dip, into K fast jump, and 6 crest, 70, 6 right over jump, keep in, and opens long, into K bump and jump, into 6 left over crest, opens, into jump, 120, 6 crest, into 6 right over crest, opens long, into jump.
The view from the onboard camera almost takes your breath away. It certainly rendered Nicky Grist almost speechless at one point when he bit his tongue after a heavy landing.
And 3 left plus.
Harry Rovanperä had 2 choices: match McRae's pace or play the waiting game and see what happened.
105, hyppytäys 200. Vasentäys sisältä.
A puncture didn't help, but the Finn had clearly chosen the second option. The Peugeot was 44 seconds slower than the Ford. With little wind, the dust from earlier cars hung in the air. Both the Citroens were badly affected by the poor visibility, with Thomas Rodstrom nearly 3.25 minutes slower than the charging McRae. Sebastian Loeb fared slightly better than his teammate, over a minute quicker, but the two Zaras were still around 2.5 minutes apart. This was, though, still a stunning performance by the pair. 3rd and 4th on the team's first attempt at the World Championship's toughest rally, where experience supposedly counts for a lot.
I bet you've never seen roads like this before at home. This, believe it or not, is nothing in comparison to some of the roads that we actually use on the event. This is where the pace notes and the speed of the notes are very important.
Caution, slow rocks for 50.
That is telling Colin exactly the right speed, not to damage the suspension, but to go over it as fast as he possibly can. The key to Kenya is not necessarily about being the fastest all the time, but keeping the car in one piece. And this is where the intricate pace notes that we use detail everything and every speed that Colin can achieve over those given conditions.
Marco Martin knew all about the value of good pace notes. Co-driver Michael Park discovered he'd bought notes for the next stage, and so Martin would have to drive blind.
Can you follow the helicopter?
A good try, yeah. Just fly above the road and take semi-fast or medium or slow corners. Maybe you can do that, you then.
Okay, we'll try. It's all straight at the moment.
300 meters.
Straight drift coming at the end of the straight.
So, turn right hand into a concrete drift.
Despite the odd scare, the pair made it safely through the stage and incredibly held on to 5th place.
It's okay.
Okay, rocks on left.
Gilles Panizzi's Peugeot hit a bird on the stage. You can see the damage it caused to the car's roof. The roof vent's air filter was the main casualty of the incident, which allowed dust into the cabin and so made driving difficult. The Frenchman losing nearly 4 minutes. With so many retirements, and the two Citroens and Panizzi unable to score manufacturer points, there was now a battle going on between Romain Cresta in the Skoda, Juha Kankkonen's Hyundai, and the Mitsubishi of Alistair McRae. Suspension damage for Cresta slowed the check, but his 7th place and 3 points for his team still looked reasonably secure. Kankinen was having to stop and top up the accent's oil after engine damage sustained the previous day. Far from fighting for the remaining manufacturer's points, this was now a struggle just to get the car to the finish. Alistair McRae's Lancer was now the last of the remaining works cars. Third fastest on the stage, McRae was now less than 10.5 minutes behind Kankinen. Another stage like that, and 8th place and the other point would be his.
Harry, a front puncture, is that your challenge over?
No, puncture is only a few kilometers, but dusty, I not can do anything in there.
Monta rengas sitten vaihtaa?
Tää on toi. Toinen renki. Siirtymällä kumpikin.
Joo.
Terrible. What's terrible?
The dust. A lot of dust. We always drive with a trip master. We cannot see anything, and he told me 500 meters, and I look at the distance at my trip master, and I brake. It was okay, but we drive carefully.
So with just 2 stages remaining, this is how the leaderboard looked. No one had changed places, but McRae's lead had grown to over 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Despite what looked to be huge gaps between the cars, the Safari showed time and again that nothing could be taken for granted, so Cresta, Kankinen and Alistair McRae could still possibly score points. But just how much time had Michael Park picking up the wrong set of pace notes cost Marco Martin? Thanks to Virtual Spectator, we can compare his time on stage 10 with that on stage 4, 2 days earlier. To help with the comparison, we've also added Colin McRae's car on stage 10. You can see that Marco was actually quicker than McRae when he tackled the stage for the first time, but it's clear that he's dropping back. Confidence in what the road ahead is doing clearly missing.
Finally, I found some adventure in Kenya. Everybody keeps saying it's adventure here, but not so far. Not so far. But yeah, we didn't have notes for the first stage. It was a bit of a mess.
I was trying to read in the junctions, but he said it was pretty useless, to be honest. He was driving mostly on sight, but the chopper was fantastic. The chopper was telling us everything that was coming up, every ditch, every long straight into a tighter corner, so it wasn't so bad.
Gilles, what happened to the roof of the car?
I took a bird in the first part on the stage and on the last stage, and I broken the trap of the top, and a lot of dust inside the car, and impossible to drive fast. All the time I saw nothing, and 2 times survey out of the buckle and clean the windows.
The next one, I would say, is probably the trickiest stage in the World Rally Championship. It seems to get rough at about halfway and then gets progressively rougher. So I'll wait until the end of section 11, and then we'll probably be feeling a lot more confident.
And so to the 74-kilometre stage 11, the stage Grist and the others had been dreading. After setting the quickest time on the previous test, this time McRae was only 3rd fastest. No matter, he was quicker than Rovanperä, and that was all that was important.
50. Jump maybe, into left, into 6 right minus over jump, into left over crest and 4 left minus. 70, turn 6 left over medium bump.
The fact that he wasn't attacking anymore was very good news to one local. Rovanperä was over 40 seconds slower. The Finn had also stopped pushing, it seemed, and looked to be content to settle for 2nd place. Citroën were now just 2 stages away from getting both their cars to the finish of their first Safari, with Rodstrom also having backed off to save the car. However, there were now just 13 cars still in the rally, from the 48 which started, so nothing was settled just yet. Despite the fact that most people were now driving to finish, the stage did cause a few problems. Sebastian Loeb and co-driver Daniel Elena had a misfire and broke their rear suspension, so dropped well over 8.5 minutes and slipped from 4th to 5th as a result.
Tout droit frein pour attention. Gauchon 10 bus, 50 mètres à l'arbre, cuvette 4. 50 mètres à l'arbre, cuvette 4. Pour droite 130 tours de profond de frein pour attention, si elle reste droite obligée dans les rivières.
The pair who moved up the order, thanks to the French duo's misfortune, were Marco Martin and Michael Park. They were second fastest, but they too had problems, damaging the front suspension dampers, while oil fumes entering the car meant Martin was feeling unwell.
150 flat right, 80 braking, 5 right, 25 left long.
With no pressure to score points for his team since he wasn't nominated, Gilles Panizzi was out to enjoy himself. Fastest again, his third stage win, this apparent tarmac rally specialist was quickly getting a liking for the Safari. In the battle for the final manufacturer points, Kankkunen was in trouble. As well as the sick engine, he clearly had rear suspension problems as well, and he was forced to stop on the stage to try and fix the damage. But little could be done on the roadside, and so the Finn drove on slowly, losing precious time to the chasing Alistair McRae. The Hyundai mechanics would fix the suspension at service. McRae and David Senior also had suspension worries, but still took nearly 5.5 minutes off Kankkunen. Less than 5 minutes now split the Accent and the Lancer.
Thomas, you start the stage behind Sebastian, you've caught and passed him.
Yes, we passed him 10 kilometers from here. I think he broke something in the, I don't know what.
I broke the suspension. I was perhaps too fast at the beginning, and my suspension temperature didn't go on the car, so I didn't know, and suddenly, bam.
Very difficult, too difficult. Very strong, a lot of rough. Last 40 kilometers, it's completely crazy. And the car and the body, oh good.
Just over 80 k's to go. Are you worried about that at all?
Not really, not now. We've got a 4-minute gap on Harry. The last stage is more straightforward than that one, so we just need to have a good clean run.
How rough was that last section?
Like Friday, it's very bad. Very bad stages anyway, and if you need pushing in these stages, sure it's not so nice.
There might have been calm in the Ford and Peugeot camps, but at Hyundai there were frantic repairs to be carried out on Kankkunen's car.
Yeah, sure.
While his mechanics worked away, the driver gathered his thoughts to prepare for the last stage. And what a stage! 81.8 kilometres of Seyabe, the stage which saw McRae take to the grass for 1 kilometre on day one. This time, though, there'd be no need for the shortcut. Victory was his for the taking, after a well-paced drive. As McRae and Grist counted off the kilometres, Roman Kresta could finish 7th and pick up 3 points for Skoda, while behind him, Kankkunen held off Alistair McRae, and so the 2 points went to Hyundai. 6th, scoring a point on a gravel rally for the first time, was Panizzi, well aware that there are 2 more tarmac events to come this year, while the man who finished 5th is surely a world champion in waiting.
Gauche à fond cassant, 80 mètres continués, gauche à fond cassant et gauchy. Gauchy et droite à fond, ok.
Ok Daniel, bravo, je pense que vous avez fait un bon temps.
After the problems with the notes, the oil fumes and last night's time penalty, Marco Martin must have been hugely relieved to finish 4th and score 4 points for Ford. Delighted too was Thomas Rodstrom in the Citroën. To get the Zara onto the podium at the team's first attempt at the Safari is no mean feat. Rovanpera was exactly a minute faster than Colin McRae on the last stage, but that hardly mattered, the Peugeot finishing in a creditable 2nd place. But there was no denying Colin McRae his third Safari victory. He'd driven sensibly, not risking the car, and so scored his 25th World Rally win, making him the most successful driver in the sport's history.
And right tightens to 6, keep in. Okay.
Spot on, boys, well done. Thanks, Martin, thank you.
I'd just like to thank the pair of you for it's an absolutely flawless drive. And I do believe, Colin, it's definitely one of the most controlled drives in your career.
Cheers, Al.
It's put you and the team back in the championship hunt, and thank you very much for that. And one more thing, you realise that you're now the most successful driver of all time with the record amount of victories. Well done on that as well. Yes.
Very much.
10 points and now 25 World Rally wins. You must be happy.
Yeah, delighted. It was a long stage, that one. It's worked out the right way in the end.
Is this the hardest rally you've ever done?
It's certainly the toughest for the car, for sure. Yeah. And it's hard because it's completely different to the rest of them.
Championship prospects?
No, not this year, because no, this year. Maybe next year my experience will be better, of course. And this year Marcus is too strong, and Colin, it's not possible.
So Colin McRae takes his second win of the year, with Rovan Pera second and Thomas Rodstrom a brilliant third for Citroën. Amazingly, every one of the works drivers tackling the event for the first time reached the finish, with Alistair McRae battling through to score a point for Mitsubishi. No drivers' points for Grunholm, Sykes, Burns or Mäkinen. McRae moves to within 7 points of the lead in the series. Mäkinen is now 8th behind Solberg, but knows the championship is slowly slipping away.
Colin, how does it feel to be the most successful World Rally driver ever?
Great. I mean, the important thing is the win here, but to have 25 wins is something, you know, a bit special. It's quite a nice record to have.
What a place to do it as well.
Yeah, it's never easy here. It's just totally different to everywhere else. You've got to find the pace and be happy with it. We got that in day one and managed to hold it all the way through.
It's 26 years since Peugeot won this rally. When are you going to win it?
I think so. Next year is our time, sure.
Thomas, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Very good.
It's possible to show that Citroën is good, the team Citroën is good on the tarmac and also on the gravel and on the rough gravel like Kenya, because it's very atypical rally.
Yes, I'm very, very happy to finish. That means I can go home now. But no, it was great experience, and I think we learned quite a bit during that event.
It was a difficult race, but I think we made some very good times, and we can see the car is very performant, and we have just to work a little bit on suspension, and it will be good for next year.
Peugeot might still have a 14-point lead in the series for manufacturers, but Ford have closed the gap, while Subaru are still third on 35 points, and the rest all have less than 10.
This really has to go down in my books as Colin's most controlled drive throughout his career. You know, he never got drawn at any point in the rally to actually try and attack, and he's just driven an absolutely flawless controlled drive, and great result. It's 14 points for the Manufacturers' Championship, which really closes the gap on the opposition, and really moves Colin up into the drivers' thing again. So really we're back in the championship with 6 events to go.
From one of the classic rounds of the World Rally Championship to another, the series next returns to Northern Europe and the Rally Finland, where the men to beat will be Tommy Mäkinen, Harry Rovanperä and last year's winner, Marcus Grunholm. But it'll have some way to go to match the dramas and the excitement of this weekend. Once again, the Safari Rally has confirmed its position as the toughest test of man and machine in the WRC. But thanks to that great drive, Colin McRae, Nicky Grist and the Ford team are now well and truly back in the championship hunt. From Kenya, goodbye.